Hey guys, today is of course our asynchronous day. That means we don't see each other face to face, but does not mean you do not learn. You're learning today, and exactly what you're learning is about biology. So we're going to do that, and we're also simultaneously going to do the assignment that is due today. So if you have not done so, go to our Canvas homepage, look at assignments, and today's assignment should be what is biology. That should be the assignment due for today. So take that out while you watch this video. So let's get started. So exactly what is biology? Technically, biology is the study of life, individual organisms, their communities, and the systems, cells, and processes that make up living matter. Students of biology undertake a general program in which they study living organisms and their systems and processes that permit life. So that's a lot of words. A lot of you are probably thinking, what does that mean? So what that means is biology essentially is the study of life and what is needed to be considered living. All right. So now that we know what biology is, some questions for you really quick because we're talking about living things. Question time. Is a rock living? Why or why not? In the homework, this is a question. So put that down with your knowledge as of now. If you know why a rock is living or it's not living, just write down why or why not it's living or not living. Next question as well, is Juice WRLD living? Why or why not? State whether he is living or he's not living, and that means right now at this time, is he living or not living? And the same question applies to our next person, Betty White. Is Betty White living or is she not living? Why or why not? And you need to put down a reason for your thinking. All right, so to answer these questions, what you really need to know is what is needed to be considered living. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about this whole school year, or half a semester, if those of you are still with us for half a semester. So here's a quick overview of what exactly that is. So the first characteristic of life is that things are made out of cells. So if you have not seen the show, actually, it's called Cells at Work, and it's actually a really good depiction of what the cells do in your body. Probably not in the animated way they do it, but the jobs that they all do are 100% spot on in what the cells in your body actually do. So when we mean cells, we don't mean these cells, we mean these cells. Those are the cells that make up your body. Okay, so follow-up question. So if cells make up only living things, what makes up non-living things? This is the next question, which you guys need to answer in your homework assignment. So if cells make up living things, what make up non-living things? And I am not going to leave you guys hanging, so as soon as you're done answering that question, you may continue watching this, because here's the answer. Elements or compounds. So non-living things are made out of elements or compounds, while living things are made out of cells. So you can see right here, these are white sugar, table salt, ground coffee, and a grain of pepper. Those are the compounds that make up those things, and they're all right now in microscopic view with an electron microscope. So those are really small that we see. So made of cells are the first characteristic of life. The second characteristic of life is response to the environment. And what is it? What do we mean by response to the environment? Literally what it says. It responds to the environment. So you can see there's two different things. We have a building on the left, doesn't do anything with the sun going up and down. But on the right, you could kind of see vaguely, but it's noticeable that the plants are actually moving with the sun. When the sun's out, they spread their leaves out. When the sun goes down, they retract their leaves. So that's what we mean by response to the environment. A living thing needs to respond to the environment. Every living thing, no matter how big, how small, complex, or how simple, they respond to the environment. The third characteristic of life is metabolism. So what do we mean by metabolism? What we mean by metabolism is that they can convert energy sources, or in parentheses, they kind of eat. So I put eat in parentheses because every living thing technically does convert energy sources, like that hippopotamus right there and us. We eat our food to convert it, but other living things don't technically eat like we do, like a plant, for instance. A plant doesn't have a mouth to eat like us and a hippo, so it's got to convert its food another way, which we'll actually learn later on in the year. So the next question on your homework assignment is, what can't you feed? So technically, what living thing can you not feed? like you could feed a hippo and us. So essentially, what living thing does not have a mouth? That's what I do. So that should hopefully narrow it down for you. All right, so our next characteristic of life is going to be growth and development. What do we mean by growth and development? What we mean by that is growing is essentially really just growing, like you're getting bigger. While when we mean by developed, or if you're fully developed, you're going to reach sexual maturity. So growing like Master Roshi is, and technically he is sexually mature, he's able to reproduce, and that segues us to our next characteristic of life, reproduction. So as you can see by the image, they're puppies and those are the adults. I'm pretty sure everyone knows what we mean by reproduction. So what we mean by reproduction, basically to make a baby. And I should have put babies in parentheses because not always is it going to be a baby, but the ability to make offspring or to make babies. So that's what we mean by reproduction. It's able to make an offspring. And there's a lot of ways to make an offspring, which we'll learn later on in the year. And then this leads us to our last and final characteristic of life, which is going to be change through time. You know, it also means evolution / heredity. What do we mean by evolution / heredity? Evolution is technically the adaptation through generations. So it doesn't happen within a single lifespan of a species. It happens through multiple generations. So evolution happens through multiple generations, while heredity is the passing on of genes. So if you don't know who that gentleman is, that is Brock Lesnar, and that is his daughter on the right. If you can kind of see, there's an uncanny relationship. They look almost the same. That's because the father passed down his genes to his daughter, which makes her look like him. So we'll learn more about genetics in the future, but these are the 6 characteristics of life, and this is actually a question on your homework assignment. What are the 6 characteristics of life? These are it. Nice, easy slide to see and write down your answers. So the last, technically 3, and then there's an extra credit one, but the last 3 questions are going to be following next. So we're going to actually use those standards now for your next questions. We're going to go back to the original ones, and you have to specifically state the characteristics that apply or don't apply. So for this instance, you need to specifically state the 6 characteristics that do or do not apply to a rock. Because remember, to be considered living, you need to have all of those characteristics of life. So which ones does this rock have or not have for the characteristics? Same thing with Juice WRLD. Which of the 6 characteristics does he not or does he have? You need to state if he has them or not have them, those 6 characteristics of life. And the same thing for Betty White. Which 6 characteristics of life does Betty White have? So that's what you guys need to do. And a quick reminder, go to the first one. All 6 of these characteristics are needed to be considered living. That should be a helpful hint. So that's it. We're going to hop on this bus and learn some biology, but not really because of COVID and we can't see each other. So that is it. There is an extra credit question to anyone who's able to do it, but you'll get an A for the whole year or the semester, however long I have you, if you can convince me that an inanimate object is living. So you need to follow it up with proof, some facts, and you have to be very convincing. You have to convince me an inanimate object could be considered living. That's an extra credit question. You don't have to do it if you don't want to, but if you want to go for it, go for it. And that's technically it. So finish up your homework. If you haven't done so, you have technically till 9 a.m. tomorrow. So that is it for today. After you're done watching this video and you're done with the questions, you get to relax and not do anything else for my class. So bye and have fun to the rest of you.